name is Tom Ruesink, and I head up product marketing and product management for Cornerstone. We're a company that specializes in travel automation. And we're bringing you video snippets where we talk to industry thought leaders about topics affecting the travel industry. And today we're going to be talking about NDC, New Distribution Capability. And I'm very happy to be joined today by Norm Rose. He's an old friend and colleague, and also one of the industry's foremost experts on NDC. So welcome, Norm. Happy to have you join us for this kind of explanation here. So if I could start, Norm's based out of San Francisco. And how long have you had travel technology consulting?
It's our 26th year.
Wow. And I know Norm does a lot with Focusrite and with all sorts of different, both suppliers, companies, so forth. And NDC, it's not necessarily new anymore, but if somebody doesn't know what NDC is, could you just give us a quick explanation about it?
I think that the best way to explain it, rather than getting into the technical aspect of it, is to think about it on how a quote is developed for a given flight. Today and traditionally, things have been done through the GDS, where the GDS take published fares, published schedules, and then use technology in order to create a fare quote based on the availability of certain letters of the alphabet. The goal of NDC is to shift that, is to shift the quote to the airlines. Now, why do the airlines want to do that? Well, number one, they don't want to be constrained by the letters of the alphabet. They don't want to be able to only have to sell that last seat, which is in Q or M or something at a certain price. They want to sell every seat in a unique way. And they want greater kind of intimacy with the customer as well. They want to create different, not only base fares, but ancillary products that meet customers' needs that really make it worthwhile for that customer. And I think that's where kind of we lead to the next issue here. I mean, originally from a technology viewpoint, it's an XML. I wouldn't call it a standard. It's more of a protocol and a framework since each of the airlines have done it a little bit differently, but there's been a lot of effort to try to standardize and bring that into focus. And, you know, the bottom line is how the quote's created, who controls the quote, and then what are the other elements within that offer coming from the airline, which would be valuable to the customer.
So if I'm a traveler that likes, say, internet, always using internet, and I'd like to be upgraded to like a Comfort Plus, they'd be able to create a special offer for me based on the fact.
Certainly from the individual viewpoint, from the corporate viewpoint, and we've seen this already happen already. This is happening with certain corporations. So there's a large corporation in Europe that has a bunch of engineers that go to a certain destination, have a lot of equipment with them.
Right.
Normally would involve a lot of excess baggage charge. So the airline, through the NDC effort, was able to offer a special bundle for those engineers to go, and that's old news. That's about 2 to 3 years old. I think it's about 2 years old. So we're in an environment where this is happening as we speak. I think people get the impression sometimes when we have emerging technologies in particular that there is a sudden kind of cutoff point, like, oh, now we're in NDC, and before we were in pre-NDC, and then we're going to be in post. It doesn't work that way. We've been moving towards NDC for many years, and I think that the actually 2019, which is now not last year, but the year before, was a significant year where we saw a lot of the industry stakeholders all kind of coalesce around the understanding of this shift to the quote being controlled by the airline.
So if I'm a travel manager or a travel management company, why is it important for me to be really understanding my position with NDC?
Well, we have to first address the issue of content. There was a great article in one of the publications yesterday, I think it was the company Dime, where they were talking about, well, what really is total content? And, full content versus, I forget what the other term was, but the point of the article was just because you have full content you have agreements to have content, even like Southwest as an example. We're no longer into a complete content agreement. Therefore, even with the announcements of the GDS adapting the NDC protocol,
Mm-hmm.
you still have to wonder from a corporate buyer viewpoint, am I seeing all the content? Is there still some content that is being reserved for some other type of channel that bypasses whatever channel I'm using normally? And that's what it comes down to first, is why I need to be concerned as a travel manager, why I need to be concerned as a travel management company, is my travelers need 100% of the content. Now,
Absolutely.
going beyond that, what the opportunity is, as I mentioned with the European, I almost said the name of the company, the European company doing a special deal with a European airline, is that, essentially that's what we would hope to see NDC evolve into. So, there, what's the number one concern of travelers today to try to get business travelers back on the road? It's health.
Mm-hmm.
It's understanding the restrictions around different
Absolutely.
things, and a benefit may be the complete ability to do a change. So it's a lower fare, but you can do a change. That even that as an NDC capability could be a very interesting package delivered to a corporation for certain of its travelers. So it's really trying to take product and match it better with what demand and buyers want. And from that perspective, it should be a very positive for the TMC community, very positive. Now, why hasn't it been treated as such? It's really economics.
Mm-hmm.
It's business relationships. Airlines for years have been paying GDSs, and a portion of those fees have come back to the TMC in the form of rebates.
Mm-hmm.
Financial assistance, I think is the term they've used in the industry.
Right.
A lot of history around that, but the bottom line is, if you look carefully at the new NDC models that are coming out with the GDS, and they resemble this private channel type of strategy we saw really emerge in 2019, which is you can avoid the fees
Mm-hmm.
that these GDS surcharges. You may use this, and we can give you access. Not sure if it's complete content, but it's a lot more content. But we're not going to pay you the incentive, TMC.
Right.
And you could see why the TMCs might want to resist that. I mean, I had a very classic conversation, I don't know, back in 2009 or something, with one of the regional TMCs at an event I was speaking at. And my gosh, it was 2009. It was after the Great Recession. Things were awful. I said, "How are you doing?" "Oh, we're doing great. We had a great year." "Oh, really? So how much of that was the financial assistance?" "Oh, that
Right.
played a big part." So you can't have
Yeah.
part of the value chain earning money while the suppliers lose money. There has to be some equilibrium there. And I think that is the thing that has gotten in the way of progress towards this more really dynamic and personalized environment.
Right. And from us, it's interesting at Cornerstone, when we look at an NDC, the way we're looking at an NDC transaction is how do we make it as complete from a quality standpoint, quality of record, be able to combine that with your other data and look at it that way. What are some immediate next steps that somebody could take, whether they're a travel manager or TMC, around NDC to prepare themselves?
Well, a lot of it goes kind of into your core area of expertise, Tom, which is data. They
Right.
need to understand their travel patterns. I mean, a lot of people have had a lot of time over the last, 12, 18 months to kind of dig down and figure out how they're going to come back when they come back. I mean,
Right.
not every trip has the right ROI. Not every trip does that. So to prepare for NDC, what are the pain points that you're trying to address? What do you want to negotiate with the airline in order to ease those pain points for your travelers as they come back? The example of waiving, change fees was one
Mhm.
example, or you mentioned about, moving into maybe economy plus or comfort
Right.
or whatever the name of the brand is. But these are all benefits to the traveler. And I think that what you need to look at from a buyer viewpoint and from a TMC viewpoint is, how can you understand what your data is telling you as far as what are the attributes of your travelers, and how can you negotiate a bundle that that meets their needs in the best way.
Right. Well, also, thank you very much for this insight into NDC. It's been enlightening for me and hopefully for you listening online. Also, with Time with Tom, we don't just let you go right here. We do one fun question, help people get to know you just a little bit better. So question today, Norm, is if you could choose one other profession outside of your own to do, what would it have been?
Well, actually, I'm glad I didn't choose that profession. I don't think I would have been as successful, but as Tom knows, I'm a saxophone player. So I play jazz, and it's going to be my next career whenever I decide to retire, which is sometime over the next 4 or 5 years. But yeah, that I have a passion for music. And it's a constant learning exercise for me. I'm always trying to improve myself. Unfortunately, to the detriment of my family, often when you practice the saxophone, it's not necessarily the most pleasant thing to listen to, even if you are good. So yeah, so I think a career in music would have been fun. It's interesting. I'm helping when I was in college. I actually was trying to combine my love for music and business. And I thought that I would enter kind of the jazz music business.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a member of an online community, and I got to know the founder, and now I'm helping him with some marketing strategy. So I said, I could help you because I understand what the community's benefit is as a user,
Mm-hmm.
and so maybe I'm applying some of my marketing skills there for that. But yeah,
Awesome.
it would be fun if I could make a living playing music, but I don't think that's necessarily the case.
Now, do you wear a hat when you play saxophone, jazz saxophone?
No, I got the beard already. So.
Yeah, I already got the look. All right. Well, thank you so much, Norm, and thanks for joining us. And
Okay.
all the best.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for reaching out.